Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. This is our Zoom-in session with Kevin Jones and Ben Adams, who are going to speak with us about their experiences with the Bridge program. I'm joined by Pamela Brown, who is my colleague at the Magna Career Center. Pamela especially works with students that are interested in law, and we're going to discuss a little bit about their experiences with the Bridge program, their experiences in law, and I hope that this is going to help students make an informed decision about their career and their career trajectory. So we're going to jump right into it. Let's start with Kevin, if you'd like. The first question, actually, this is for both you, Kevin and Ben. Let's start with the first question. Tell us a little bit about yourself, what your major was, your career trajectory, and what you're currently doing.
So I'm Ben Adams. I am originally from the DC area, but have lived in Brooklyn on and off for a really long time. I graduated from Brooklyn College with Kevin in 2017. Kevin was our valedictorian. I was not quite so established as him among the Brooklyn College community, but I'm a double CUNY grad. I also went to City Tech and received an associate's degree at City Tech before coming to Brooklyn College. I majored in history at Brooklyn College, and it was a wonderful experience. I really, any chance that students have to take any classes in the history department is a wonderful opportunity. There are some fantastic professors there, and I highly recommend it. After Maurer, I went to or just in my senior year, I went to the exact program that we're talking about today, a luncheon with Dean Austin Parrish of the IU Maurer School of Law, and with now Professor Terrence Stroud, and learned a lot about Indiana University and the Maurer School of Law. And Kevin and I were part of the inaugural class of the Bridge program between the two schools. Professor Stroud himself had attended both schools and is a wonderful booster of both schools. And the opportunity to meet Dean Parrish at the Magna Career Center was really, set the ball rolling and really convinced me to look at Indiana seriously as a law program. I went to law school, thinking that I was going to do some sort of public interest work, but I wasn't exactly sure what that would look like. As is the case for many undergraduate students, law students do a lot of work on internships in the summer. It's a big part in between your years of law school. You do various internships. And my first summer, I worked at the Legal Aid Society in Brooklyn, in Borough Hall. And I worked in the housing unit. Yet another thing that Kevin and I share is that we both worked at the Legal Aid Society that first summer. He on the criminal side, I was on the civil side working on housing cases. And I really enjoyed that work a lot. My second summer, I went home to the DC area and worked for the Federal Public Defender's Office in the Eastern District of Virginia. So I was working on criminal cases in one of what they refer to as the rocket docket. It's one of the busiest courts in the entire country, and got a real feel for what federal court is like. While I was at Maurer, I had some great opportunities during the school year also to do some internships. And I focused a lot on judicial internships. So I had in my second year, I had an amazing opportunity to work for Justice Jeffrey Slaughter of the Indiana Supreme Court. And then in my third year, I got to work as an extern for Judge David Hamilton of the Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals. Judge Hamilton is the only judge in the entire United States, the only circuit court judge, a federal appeals court judge, who keeps his chambers inside of a law school. And his chambers are at the IU Maurer School of Law. And he takes a lot of interns from the law school itself. It's a fantastic opportunity for a lot of people. And in that experience, I learned that the federal intermediate appeals courts were something I was very interested in. And so now, my current position, I live in Philadelphia and I work for the United States Court of Appeals for the Third Circuit, which hears all appeals from the federal trial courts, known as district courts, that are in Delaware, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania. My job is as a staff attorney in the legal division. And what that means is our office reviews and provides recommendations for any case in which the person who is appealing is not represented by a lawyer, what we call a pro se litigant. So most of those cases end up having to do with prisoners, whether they are having complaints about the conditions in which they are being held, prison conditions, their medical treatment, or other things about their prison conditions, or claims about the manner in which they were arrested, or excessive force claims, false arrest claims, malicious prosecution claims, things like that. And then on the other side, some what are called habeas corpus claims. So claims that some part of their trial proceedings that led to their conviction were unconstitutional, be it a prosecutor withheld evidence, or they had ineffective assistance of counsel by their defense attorney, or something along those lines. So our job is to receive these cases, review all of the information that came from the trial court, and provide a recommendation to the judges of the Court of Appeals on how this case should proceed. It's incredibly interesting work. Most of my days are spent writing. I write quite a bit. I process about roughly 2 cases per week. So it's a lot of reading and a lot of writing, a lot of note taking. But currently I'm working remotely, as most of us are because of the pandemic. And the work actually lends itself very well to remote work, because it's very self-motivated, self-involved sort of work. The interesting thing about the work that I do is that I'm not in the courtroom. And this brings me to a point I want to make about law school. A lot of people think of law school, and Kevin is going to be able to speak to what it means to be in the courtroom every day. We see this on television, Law and Order, things like that, that lawyers are in the courtroom. An important thing to know about law school and a law degree is that there are many jobs that you are qualified for that have nothing to do with being in the courtroom. Many lawyers work on contract cases that rarely see them go into the courtroom. They work on intellectual property cases, and that means a lot of different things. It could mean various technologies, but it could also mean, for example, working on music. People who are working with, there's a lot of things in the news right now about artists selling their music catalogs to various publishers and things like that. That's all intellectual property work as well. And a lot of that never sees the courtroom, but lawyers are still involved in structuring those deals. There's also jobs like mine in which you are adjacent to a court, but you are not standing up in court every day. And yet you still have a lot of contact with judges, with other lawyers, with other practitioners. And the overall point being that a JD, a law degree, is an incredibly flexible degree. And I'm sure the fine folks at the Magna Career Center can talk to you all about what are now known as JD Advantage jobs, which are positions that aren't necessarily in the practice of law, but for which a law degree can qualify you. And I think that the wonderful thing about the Maurer School of Law and the Bridge program between Brooklyn College and IU is that it provides you a real opportunity to go to a very different environment in a lot of ways, but a very similar environment in a lot of ways, in that it's an incredibly collaborative and supportive environment. Unlike a lot of law schools, the Maurer School of Law is not the kind of place where people are, cutthroat trying to get to the top of the class, and stepping on each other to get there. It's an incredibly collaborative and a welcoming environment. And most of all, it's an environment in which you are able to have a really great connection with both your classmates and with the faculty and staff, because Bloomington, Indiana is a small town, and everybody lives near the school. I was fortunate enough actually to live right across the street from the school for my entire 3 years there. And it's a place where people are welcoming and where they are able to interact with you because they don't have to worry about long commutes or other things like that. So I can't recommend it enough. And that's enough talking for me for now. So I'll turn it over to Kevin for his thoughts.
Well, thank you. That's my friend Ben and I. As he said, I was a valedictorian, but he didn't disclose the fact that he still was a 4.0. He was in the running to be the valedictorian. Had he wanted to, he probably could have been as well. Nonetheless, I digress. I'm going to try to employ a little brevity here. I believe I'm just going to, I'm Kevin Jones. Of course, Ben and I, we both were at Brooklyn College. And yes, as Ben so eloquently stated, I was honored to be named the 2017 valedictorian at Brooklyn College. I studied television, radio, broadcast journalism, along with sociology and Africana studies, and which I'm still very much engaged and still a part of all of those different departments there at Brooklyn College. And absolutely amazing. I'm still connected to those departments, which, and they'll come up a little later about what should you do? The myth is that you want to be in poli-sci and all that. And, absolutely not. You don't have to be a part of your undergraduate major does not have to be in the legal field or poli-sci, political science. When I say poli-sci, political science. As a matter of fact, just about any, especially the STEMs or any of the thing, history and all that, would prepare you to go to law school. As long as you have a bachelor's degree, you're eligible to go to law school. Let me just keep it real, that's there. Some of the other courses or things or studies, you don't necessarily have to be a part of a program, but as long as you've taken some classes in those different areas, it will help you navigate the space of law school. So just tell you a little bit about who I am. So those are my degree, my majors while I was in Brooklyn College, and I was very active. Community service is another big important. I was very active while I was here in New York. I'm a transplant to New York. I'm originally from the Midwest. I've been in New York for 20 years, and I went back to school. So I was a non-traditional student when I went back to school. But while I was in college, I had the amazing opportunity to intern with appellate justice here in New York, L. Priscilla Hall, the Honorable Priscilla Hall, who's a retired appellate justice here in New York. As well as working for the Brooklyn District Attorney's Office, which under the leadership of the late Kenneth Thompson, Honorable Kenneth Thompson. So I was fortunate early on in my career, even as a student, to be exposed to many legal professionals and having mentorships and things of that nature right here in New York. And Judge Hall's principal clerk, Joe Sorrentino, absolutely, and one of the most amazing gentlemen ever, who's like, to this day, I still, throughout my law school career, I continue to use him and lean on him. And even in my legal career, I mean, I don't make a move without running it past him. Like Ben had said earlier, that our paths have basically been parallel throughout our time from being non-traditional students at Brooklyn, gone on to Maurer, coming from New York, going to law school, being older students, and law school. I forgot the question, Mr. Surratt. So I'm just going to kind of go in. I'm not going to go. You can chime in at any time if I'm getting off course.
No, okay.
Yeah. So, but when I went to law school, there are a lot of differences in law school. It was one of the most didn't know what to expect. Let me just say that. And that's okay. And being flexible. Ben made the comment also, so I was very involved. So I knew Professor Stroud, who's also, I was pretty involved at Brooklyn College. So I received the Bell Zeller Award. I received many scholarships. Even while I was in school, I received through the Magna Center. They were very instrumental in me getting several awards. I think it was the Ging, the Stanley Ging scholarship that allowed me to go to the Ron Brown program and did pre-law programs throughout my career while I was an undergrad. So Pamela Brown, who's absolutely amazing, who was there to hear my every beckoning call and call up, and thank you, Pam, for guiding me through. And there's so many other wonderful staff of Magna Center and throughout, even Professor Law that was in poli sci, and then we also have I'm not sure if she's still there, the pre-law advisor. So I utilized all of those people while I was there, and then we had the opportunity for Dean Parrish to come, and I was in that meeting. It was really a great time. And if I may be just totally transparent, it was not my intention, neither was it my desire to go to Indiana. I want to be clear. So if you're thinking and you're hearing, I am not going to the Midwest. It's just not happening. It's not going to happen. So even when I went to that thing, I went because they had great food, they had great sandwiches, because Brooklyn College, they will hook you up. So I went because that was a good free meal. Yes, and so if you're here just because of the meal, enjoy. But along the way, it was there. I ran into IU, and I guess my story was a little different. I didn't want to go to IU. I wanted to go to Yale. I wanted to go other places, but I didn't know what I really wanted, because I didn't know. I just thought, well, these are some things that you wanted. So Ben talked about, and I echo everything that Ben said, but I just want to talk from a different perspective about those aspects about choosing a law school when you're not necessarily sure. I didn't want to go to IU. I didn't think it was for me. And matter of fact, I told who we're very close to, one of the directors of admissions, like, no, you don't need to interview me because I'm not coming there. It ain't happening. And she laughed, and we sat there for 15 minutes and talked about everything but my admissions to IU. And I said, okay, now it's time to move on. It was nice meeting you. Thank you again. But needless to say, I ended up going to IU, and it was the best decision for me at that time. And again, I'm saying only for me, because you have to be very certain of what it is that you're looking for. The competition that was not there, that was important for me. The opportunities that were provided, being a New Yorker, going to the Midwest, again, was an opportunity. So when law schools are putting together a student body, they're looking at different people to fulfill different goals for that, to really get to that diversity and inclusion that they try to do. They don't just, so it is very strategic on the people that they're choosing to be a part of a class. So everybody has a place. So, and if you're not, so I guess I say that to say, don't be discouraged, even if you may not get a favorable offer, you're not accepted into a school. It has nothing to do with your ability, nothing to do with your, to go through law school or your academics, your grade, your test score. It has nothing, oftentimes that's not the reason. They've gotten a quota for that person to feel that. So that's why it's important for you to throw cast your net a little wider to different places where you become a commodity, if you will. I mean, it is what it is. I was an older Black man from New York going down to the Midwest. It was. And so on the demographics, it was so funny, and I can share this. They had one age, and I was the oldest person in my class, because I saw it in our demographics, and I was like, oh my God, who is that? Who's that old? I knew it was me, but it was great because I didn't look, but it is what it is. So those are different things just you want to look at. So when I got to law school, criminal law has always been my forte. That's what I went to school for many different purposes, and what drives me in the criminal law field. Ben and I we had a lot of classes together when we first went to law school. I was also the Student Bar Association. I was one representing my class the first year, and the second year, Ben represented our class. He took my place, because I said, it's a lot going on. But nonetheless, I studied criminal law, and I followed, and we had some amazing professors at IU in the way of criminal law. Professor Hoffman, who wrote the actual text that we studied, who was a clerk to Justice Rehnquist. I mean, he's just an absolutely amazing guy. I mean, and we have so many others. We had Janine Bell and her scholarship, and we had, people like Professor Eaglin, and we have so many amazing minds that's right there that had their doors open. So it afforded me that opportunity to really pursue what I was looking for in criminal law. And the practitioners who had actually done the work in the federal prosecutions and all that. But when I went to law school, I thought I was going to be a defense attorney. I worked as a criminal in criminal law defense at Legal Aid Society, as Ben said, and I worked with the public defenders up in Marion County my entire duration of my entire second year in law school. And so I had a lot of experience, and I came home, did the Legal Aid Society, but somewhere along the line, things changed for me. I saw that I can do more good as a prosecutor. So I'll get to the end, but I'm a prosecutor. So I'm a prosecutor with a defense mind, and not necessarily defense mind, but a prosecutor for justice. I'm a prosecutor that wants to do good for all parties involved. And I think it's important that you have people from this side of the fence that are in the prosecution offices, so we can get to more closer to what's right, what is the right outcome in these situations. And so I'm sure there's some other questions. I don't want to just bore you, but yes, I made that decision. That was a difficult decision because of my own personal experiences with what I thought a prosecutor was. And I'm not even going to tell you, but if you're listening to this, there's a case called U.S. v. Berger, 1935 case. That outlines what the role of a prosecutor is, and that really, really, really resonates with me. And if you get a time, if you're listening to me, I don't even want to tell you what it says, because I want you to go read it for yourself. And that's what guides me and drives me to this very day, the real role. And that was in 1935, and it still holds true, the role of a prosecutor. And that's what drives me.
Just give us the title again.
U.S. v. Berger. Famous case. Seminal. Famous. And you go to law school, you will be reading. Point blank. You will know it well. Everybody goes through that case. But
you guys have been like fantastic as far as the questions. You guys covered the questions in your presentation already, so it's just been like right on point. But one question I do want to leave with you, and I want you to sort of bring it to the tail end of this. Do you have any final advice for students that want to gain more experience through the Bridge program?
Without question. I can say for me, the Bridge program, and I think because we were the inaugural class, if you will, the two of us, many of the things we were just doing it just because that's who we both are, very ambitious, very conscientious about what we were doing, primarily because we were both older. And I encourage anyone, regardless of where you are, don't expect people to come to you about anything. You must take it upon yourself to create opportunities. So when you're meeting the Dean Parishes, the Professor Strouds, the Pamela Browns, Mike, you need to cultivate those relationships. You need to be present. They don't know what you know or what you need. Invite them to be a part of your journey. That will make your difference. I mean, that's going to make all the difference, no matter, even if you're seeing this video, you get Kevin Jones, Ben Adams, you get their names and you look us up and you call us. And if you take that initiative to show that you are serious about what you're doing and not waiting for somebody to call you, those are the people that's going to be in your corner, and doors will open up that you didn't even realize. That's what I'm gonna leave you with. Ben, you could.
Yeah, I completely echo that point. I think, probably the most important thing in any career, but certainly in this field, is to make sure that you are proactively looking for your opportunities and announcing yourself, right? Making sure that people understand what it is you're interested in and what sort of paths you want to follow. And even if it doesn't end up being that that's what you do, people will learn who you are and help guide you to what you should be doing. So that's point one. I do want to say this about the bridge program. You know, Kevin and I were the first ones to go from Brooklyn College to IU under this program. But the other thing that we were involved in as the inaugural class, it was in our first summer, the direction coming the other way, and people coming from Maurer to New York who didn't originate here. And so there were a number of our classmates from Maurer who came with us to New York and were part of the inaugural summertime program in between our classes that Professor Stroud led. And what he ended up doing was having a bunch of speakers and opportunities for us to network and meet with folks. We met with folks who worked at the UN. We met with a person who had been a candidate for the New Jersey governorship, who was a partner at one of the biggest law firms in New York City, in the country. And so we had a great opportunity to meet and network with people and learn about different ways that people use law degrees and the law, and to learn, you know, a thing or two about how to move forward and how to consider our career options. We met with someone from the National Labor Relations Board who's a Maurer alum who works in downtown in Metro Tech. And you know, there are just so many opportunities that this program can open the doors to. You know, Professor Stroud is an incredibly enthusiastic booster of both schools, as I said before, but he's also a very well-connected person in New York City and in Brooklyn, and particularly in city government. And so if you're a person who in the long term wants to work in city government, you know, Professor Stroud is a great person to know. Dean Parrish himself, you know, used to live, he went to law school in New York City. He knows a lot of people in New York City. He can connect you with the, you know, the broader Maurer alumni community in New York City, which is getting broader every day. You know, Maurer has made Maurer has made a conscious effort to expand its alumni network as far as possible. And our, you know, the current Dean of Career Services there, who came in while Kevin and I were at school, is a wonderful person, Dean McFadden. She's done an amazing job overhauling the Career Services office at Maurer, and building those micro alumni networks in various cities all over the country. So, you know, if you're coming from Brooklyn and your intention is not to come back to Brooklyn, there are opportunities to go anywhere from Maurer. You know, they have amazing programs. There's Kevin also participated in a program to go to Washington, D.C., spent a whole semester of our third year in Washington, D.C., working in Congress. And spent a summer you spent a summer working in Congress and a semester other way around, right? Yeah. Right. So you know, Kevin worked in Congress, got there because of Maurer. You know, there are opportunities to go almost anywhere. There are opportunities to go, you know, if you want to go to Ireland, if you want to go to the Netherlands, if you want to go to Korea, if you want to go to China, if you want to go to India, if you want to go any of those places.
Paris.
Paris. I mean, there are amazing opportunities. Cape Town. You know, there are incredible opportunities to go wherever it is you want to go from Maurer. They have unbelievable connections. They also have great joint degree programs. So if you wanted to do a joint MBA JD, you can knock that out in 4 years at IU. And they have one of the top ranked business schools in the country, the Kelley School of Business. There are even, for those of you who might be interested in library sciences, they have a joint degree program that is for someone who wants to be a law librarian, right? So you can get a joint JD and Master of Library Sciences in 4 years. That will set you up to be one of the top candidates for any law library job in the country, because IU's got one of the best library sciences programs around. So, you know, the point is that There's a lot of flexibility. This is an amazing opportunity. It's a rare opportunity. There aren't that many schools that have so quickly forged this kind of connection with a law school that is unconnected, right? So I think that it's very common for people to go to an undergrad institution that has a law school connected to it, and get some sort of waiver in without having to take the LSATs or whatever it is. This is not exactly that kind of program, but what it is an opportunity to get the benefits of that kind of program, even though Brooklyn College does not have Brooklyn Law School is not part of Brooklyn College, right? So I think it's a really important opportunity that has been developed here, and the folks at the Magner Career Center can help you figure out how best to be poised to be part of it.
And I want another important component of that is the bridge program automatically initially starts off at a minimum that you're already getting a discount from the flip to be a part of this program. So let's be clear, because money is always a factor. Let's be real clear. So I think it starts off and you have the opportunity to get even more discounted benefits. But I believe just if you're in this bridge program, there's a floor that there's a minimum that you're going to be benefit just by being a part of this program. That's one. Additionally, what Ben was saying, to Ben's point, and just correct. So I worked in Congress for the amazing, and she's the Congresswoman for the Brooklyn College area, the Honorable Yvette D. Clark. And she's amazing. And her mother, Dr. Una Clark, is on the board of trustees for CUNY. And so while Maurer facilitated many things, my connection started at Brooklyn College. And that's the point that I'm making about how all of your connections back and forth, and Ben and I both had an opportunity for the current legal counsel, head of counsel, legal counsel, their offers both positions with Brooklyn College, but we wanted to be at the Legal Aid Society, and we passed that opportunity on to one of our colleagues. So there's so many opportunities to be a part, and that's why that's why I encourage everyone to always be ready for opportunities and express. Talk to people. Don't say what you think they want to hear, but talk about who you are and what you want, because it's through that knowledge that people will be able to help and guide you and cultivate you to get there. I thought I wanted to be a defense attorney, and I talked to judges. I talked to people like, oh, I'm going to be this. I told them. They said, well, why are you going to be that? And it was through those conversations that I have a wonderful mentor to this very day. He's the former dean of the admissions of the law school, who's from New York, who went to Columbia Law School. But he's down in Indiana, and he's an amazing gentleman. And they used to talk about, I was like, oh no, I'm going to be a defense attorney, defense. And clearly I don't know if I told you, but I'm a prosecutor, a proud prosecutor. I am. So I was just joking, but doing the right thing as a prosecutor here in New York. And I'm back here. And to get a job in New York City is not an easy feat. I went to school, and because Maurer is an international school, it's not just a regional school, so you can go anywhere. Ben said it. We have from business to IP to CRIM to, I don't care what area of law you want to go into. Maurer School of Law, my amazing alma mater, is an institution that's fully capable of preparing you for whatever legal career you want. That I can promise you. More importantly, it more than prepared both of us for passing the bar. Period.
On that note, Kevin, that's amazing. And we can't say enough how much we thank you, Kevin Jones and Benjamin Adams, for doing this spotlight video for students regarding the upcoming event. This is really important. On Wednesday, April 7th, from 6 o'clock to 7 p.m. with the Dean of the Maurer School of Law, Austin Parrish, and Terry Stroud, who is a BC alum and also a professor at the law school. So we hope that students will see this video and feel motivated, that you see everything they had to say, you're in that mix, right? So be a part of this event, get more information, and you never know what's going to happen. You never know where it's going to take you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you both. And Pam, can I add one thing? You tend to have these IU Maurer Law School sessions every year, right? So every year this is available. This is a great opportunity. So I hope this really helped students make an informed decision about that career path. And Ben and Kevin, such amazing advice. Wow, so really great. And Pamela, I really thank you for this. And you're both alumni of Brooklyn College, which is even more amazing. So just shows that our alumni like to pay it forward, and we really appreciate that.
Make sure to check out the My Career tab on the BC Navigator app, where you can track your career progress based on the amount of credits you've earned, stay updated on upcoming events from the Magner Center, and watch our videos for insight and advice on your career field.